Story here. IMF to federal government addressing food security, your swift priority. IMF to federal government addressing food security, your swift priority. And the writer here says MPC decision to tighten monetary policy will contain inflation pressures on Naira. Another story, it's time to reposition Nigeria's economy for long term. Professor Moralu is speaking. How inflation radically changes economic ideas. That's a story you might want to read. And at the top corner, Obasanjo proffers Zimbabwean model to address Nigeria's inflation. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria seeks discontinuation of expatriate employment levy. Why investors oversubscribed CBN open market operation bill. Kedosu is speaking. Some stories you find on the front page of the Business Times. We move to the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria must battle rising food insecurity as priority. The International Monetary Fund is saying, and some writers says capping fuel prices, low electricity tariffs could cost Nigeria 3% of GDP. Calls for cash transfer program implementation. We must go into production to escape hardship, governors are saying. How Nigeria can stabilize forex, overcome economic woes. Professor Moralu is saying, I am not desperate to be president. P2B is responding. Nigeria's acceptance of grains from war-torn Ukraine, no sign of failure. Federal government is responding to the statement made by former, Labour Party presidential candidate in the last election, P2B, where he said that it was a failure to see Nigeria receiving grains from war-torn Ukraine. Deadline on NIN account linkage. Most banks, yet to implement directive. Accounts without BVN registered seem affected. CBN should consider Nigerians in diaspora consumer group, saying. Another story here, Lagos LGA's huge allocations, little development. Akpakpa gridlock returns, trucks ignores Sanwo-Olu's directive. Edo Cuba, PDP moves to reconcile aggrieved members, hold SWC meeting. Nigerians shouldn't be hungry, insecure, Sharia Council tells federal government. Why good leadership eludes Africa, Obasanjo, Jonathan Mahama, all speaking there. Some stories we find on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. To the Punch newspaper, food smuggling. Federal government intercepts 141 grain trucks. Drivers threaten strike over attacks. Customs sees 120 smuggled grain trucks. EFCC intercepts 21. Tinubu orders sale of forfeited food. Truck owners threaten to stop transporting food over attacks, say no insurance for looted food stuff. And the picture there is that of operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Maiduguri Zonal Command during the seizure of 21 trucks loaded with food and other items heading towards N'Djamena, Chad Republic, Central African Republic, and Cameroon. That was yesterday. 767 manufacturers shut down in 2023. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is reporting that trial suspected killer of Ikiti monarchs remanded. And another story at the top corner, Obasanjo unveils new book on leadership at 87th birthday. Nigeria's electricity fuel subsidies may go up 7 trillion naira, IMF is saying. Army chief dismisses coup calls, demands good leadership. Some stories you find on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We'll move to this Nigeria newspaper now. EFCC intercepts 21 food-laden trucks being diverted to neighboring countries, where bills covering cleverly concealed goods indicate destinations as N'Djamena, Chad Republic, Central Africa Republic, and Cameroon. Outrage in Senate over power outage. That happened yesterday. Lawmakers feel heat. Akpabio fumes as proceedings halt for 30 minutes. Another story, protesters block Auchi Ekpoma Abuja Expressway over abandoned highway project. Mutfwang employs 16 SAC PDP lawmakers amid tension in Plateau. Assembly. Some stories you find on the front page of this Nigeria. Quickly now, we'll move to Leadership newspaper. At the Leadership Awards, only drastic actions can save Nigeria's economy. Mohalu is speaking. Advises Tinubu to reject cabinet, go after bank CEOs over forex manipulation. Economy not in distress, President replies. Awards push to do more, says Governors, I'm not desperate to be president. P2B says we recognize this daring to seize possibilities. Naisa speaking. And dollar video, only EFCC can prosecute Ganduje, the court has said. All right, the federal government blames food scarcity on smuggling, flooding others. We move quickly now to the New Telegraph. Investor confidence. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria tackles federal government over expatriate employment levy. Another story, tackling corruption will address prevailing situation in Nigeria. And to the front page of the Business Day now, investment migration offers Nigeria opportunities to boost FX inflows. That's the major stories you find on the front page of the Business Day. Ibrahim.
Right, the first with me is the Guardian newspaper. Consumers switch to used gadgets as FX crisis worsens tech adoption. WADA, fresh doping hurdles for Team Nigeria ahead of Olympics. Alleged dollar bribe, court stops Ganduje's probe. No country provides equal opportunities for women, World Bank asserts. More food-laden trucks seized at borders as IMF seeks end to hardship. Sharia Council urges federal government to end hunger, insecurity. Insider collaboration responsible for over 70% of bank frauds, says EFCC. Next is Nigerian News Direct. Economic hardship. Tinubu insists Nigeria's economy is making progress, not in distress. Sets aside 200 billion naira to support businesses. Sanwo-Olu increases bursary, scholarship for indigents, physically challenged. Ogun MSME's clinic, federal government doles out 150,000 naira cash reward to 200 exhibitors. Above the masthead, IGP bans POS, other money transfer devices in police stations. You see that on page 21. EFCC intercepts 21 food-loaded trucks headed to Chad, Cameroon. Binance to suspend all Naira-related services in Nigeria from March the 8th. Next is the Nation newspaper. Congrats to Tinubu, the visionary, Sanwo-Olu, the actualizer. In 2025, Ondo will understudy Sanwo-Olu, as according to Jimo Ibrahim. Our economy not in distress, says Tinubu. 72,000 tractors needed to enhance food security. Binance exits Nigeria over forex crisis. Honor launches, launches probe. Next is Salient Times. Ex-President Jonathan identifies factors working against quality leadership in Africa. And the writer reads, Africa can't go far without good leadership. That's according to former President Obasanjo. Housewife commits suicide in front of police station, leaves behind 3 children. Magistrate court remands killer of Ekiti monarchs. Facebook, Instagram service restored after outage. A Nigerian economy not in distress. We're only in challenging times. Tinubu, you have no excuse not to restructure Nigeria, Afenifere tells the president. Elderly man staying with homeless woman found dismembered. Presidential aid. Bayo Ononuga denies reports claiming UAE has lifted ban on Nigerian travelers. Hardship. EFCC intercepts 21 food-looted trucks heading to Chad. Others. Abandoned decomposing corpse. Shuts down businesses in Abakaliki. And singer Daddy Fresh cries for help amid battle with partial stroke. Federal government grants to 100 exhibitors at Ogun MSME's clinics 150,000 naira cash reward. Next is the Daily Times. Tribalism, election rigging, bane of leadership in Nigeria, says Jonathan. EFCC blames banks for 70% of financial crimes. Minister, about power plants to feed national grid. Candidates fail law school 888 candidates fail law school exams. Food crisis. Federal government justifies grains donation from Ukraine. On the bottom strip, EFCC arrests 21 trucks smuggling food items across Nigeria's borders. And above the masthead, aviation stakeholders fret over Oronsai report, revenue deductions. Next is the Platform Times. Nigeria must stop winner-takes-all approach. Nigeria must stop winner-takes-all approach, Jonathan admonishes. 3 professors urge President Tinubu to act as insecurity threatens agricultural incentives. Obasanjo advocates selfless leadership, African democracy reformation. Afenifere reveals blueprint for restructuring, advocates parliamentary system. Court slams 5 million naira fine on Ogun Police Commissioner, Deputy, 8 chiefs for harassing village heads. Keke rider receives 250 million naira scholarship reward for returning 15 million naira in Kano. Nigeria faces stagflation, not inflation, says Federal Polytechnic Rector. Next is Daily Trust. Terrorists abduct scores of female IDPs in Borno. And the writers read, they left camp in search of firewood, community leader. Only 4 of 117 returned so far. Military, Borno government mum. Federal government to Israel, stop war on Gaza. Repent or leave Kano. Hizbah CG tells immoral persons. Nigeria's economy not in distress. That's according to Tinubu. Ghana's central bank suspends FX licenses of 2 Nigerian banks. Tribalism, flawed elections, bane of quality leadership. That's according to Jonathan. Lassa fever kills 13 as measles, Buruli ulcer hits Benue. And the penultimate paper here is the first news. We're not interested in staging any coup. Nigerian army says we're agents of democracy. We have no desire to truncate it. Vows to continue to defend Nigeria's constitution. Bank of Ghana suspends GTB First Bank Forex licenses. Customs seized 120 trucks of smuggled grains in 2 weeks. Adeniyi says NCS will auction confiscated food items. Finally, Binance quits Nigeria, suspends all Naira services. Blueprint for restructuring Nigeria ready, Afenifere tells Tinubu. And 30 trillion Naira ways and means grand corruption. That's according to Mogalu. Dollar bribery video, court bars Kano anti-graft agency from probing Ganduje. Now, 3 women convicted for selling new Naira notes at parties. Nigeria's economy not distressed. Tinubu, I'm not desperate to be president, says Peter Obi. Last but not least is the Nature newspaper. Carbon sink, Ekiti to plant 2 million trees in 2024. Kebbi government commits 2.6 billion naira to buy fertilizer. VSF empowers 3,000 farmers with dry season inputs. Food crisis, don't backs food importation. We honor 3,500 naira promise per bag of cement, says BUA. 2 moments that prove golf is in a good spot.